Ren, there are plenty of things that we would do differently if we were to start again today. And I think if you have just started, this is going to be a good sort of check to sort of think about, can I do it a different way? But if you haven't, this is going to really help you really think about how to get started.
Some of the things that we wouldn't do. I think we wouldn't invest in an individual stock to get started. We wouldn't try and chase a quick win. We certainly wouldn't invest in a company that we hadn't done the research on. What else wouldn't we do?
What wouldn't we do? I wouldn't get flustered about what broker to use and spend ages and ages and ages trying to figure it out. I wouldn't worry about having to need $1,000 or so to get started. And I wouldn't labor on trying to pick the perfect investment to get started.
Okay, nice. One more I think that people often trip up on is I wouldn't wait for the perfect time to start investing. I think this year has been a real lesson in people who try and time the market often have worse results. A lot of people who thought they could pick the market and time the market were selling out as Liberation Day, as those tariffs were introduced, and people thought, this is going to lead to a fall in the stock market. All of a sudden, the stock market rips, it recovers, it hits all-time highs, and those people were left outside looking in. So what would we do?
I would be going straight for index ETFs.
Yes, we are the index boys, so unsurprising.
We love indexes. Indexes are a way to measure change over time. And indexes in the investing sense is a way that we measure the total return of a large number of stocks. And so here in Australia, the ASX 200 index is the top 200 stocks in Australia. That index, we use it to measure how those 200 stocks perform over a period of time. You can invest in those indexes through ETFs, exchange traded funds.
How we do it, the majority of our investments go into these index ETFs. You and I each have 4 ETFs that make up our core portfolio. But the good news is that's even one step more advanced than it needs to be. If we were getting started today, if we were back in that share house in Canberra trying to figure out the AFR and get it started, you can buy an all-in-one ETF that tracks basically either the global stock market as an index, or it tracks like multiple different countries' indexes. So Australia's ASX 200, America's S&P 500, and they do all the work to roll that into one ETF for you. If you're in Australia, there's 3 tickers that we would suggest, and then Bryce has a 4th that has a bit of an extra kick to it. So BetaShares have DHHF, and then Vanguard have VDHG or VDAL. So you can just Google any of those tickers and do some research on them. If you want a bit of a spicier version, there's a bit of leverage in GHHF from BetaShares. So that's another one to look at. But why we like these is they give you access to tens of thousands of stocks all around the world in one simple trade. And you can invest in these, depending on the platform you're using, from $1. It's super accessible. And they're not going to be like the Afterpay or the A2 Milk that we spoke about earlier. They're not going to 10 times your money in a year. But the long-term average of the stock market, depending on the market, sort of moves between 8 and 13% a year. And if you consistently get that, let's say you consistently get 10% a year for 20, 30, 40 years, you're going to have more than you will need to live a comfortable life, have a comfortable retirement. Might not be more than you want. Might not be Lambo money, might not be Jeff Bezos boat money, but more than you need.
Absolutely. I look back and think about this and think that if all I'd done is put, whatever I could do during university, and let's acknowledge that during university, you're not going to have huge amounts of free cash flow to be investing, but whatever I could do, and then when I got my first job at Woolworths and had a bit more free cash flow, regularly start putting in, if all I'd focused on was putting money in these all-in-one ETFs or the core ETF that I have now for sort of 10 years, and then thought about buying individual stocks and stuff from there, that foundation that you would have built in that core portfolio, man, you'll look back on that in 40 years and pat yourself on the back.
Yeah, and it's not just about the financial return as well. It's you would have got such an understanding of how the market works and your own temperament, and you would have started to understand that when the market falls, you shouldn't be panicking because things recover. You would have got a sense that it's not good for your own temperament to be checking your brokerage account every day, and you would have just started building those really good long-term investing habits that would hold you in good stead as, you know, you start earning more money and you can put more to investing, and then you can spend a bit more time thinking about individual stocks or other opportunities. But just getting that foundation, both of the portfolio foundation set with something that gives you like low-cost, diversified access to the world, but also the foundations of good investing habits.
Yeah.
So then the final step is about automating this initial setup that you've got. And our book, Don't Stress, Just Invest, really went through these 4 steps about how you can automate your core portfolio. The important thing to stress these days is that the brokerage accounts that you can use to invest, a lot of them offer like an automatic investment feature where you say every X number of days, I'm going to have an automatic bank transfer from my bank account into my investment account. And then I'm going to set up an automatic instruction with my investment account to just buy whatever each fortnight, each week, however often you're doing it. So, you know, we get paid fortnightly here on a Monday. On a Tuesday, I have an automatic bank transfer to my investment account. And on a Wednesday, I have an instruction there to just buy these index ETFs.
Yeah.
And so it just takes all the thinking out of it. It allows you to just set and forget, get on with your life, do more interesting things, and know that your investments are ticking away in the background. And that automation, we think, is really important. Stops you chasing the hot stock, stops you getting fearful and not investing.
Big time.
And just keeps you on track.
Big time. Love it. So 4 steps: get paid, automate, buy a bit of everything, which we spoke about, and then just repeat that process. It is simple as that.
I will say this about investing. Everything you do learn is cumulative. What I learned at 20 is useful.